Blog Talk Radio.
Welcome to Conservatives Cool Talk Radio. It's your host, Wayne Bradley. Thanks for listening in this evening. We've got a lot of issues to talk about, a lot of things to discuss this evening. First thing I want to do is thank everybody that's out there that's listening this evening. This is we're going to talk about the healthcare issues that's going on with Eric Massa. I think that's really the hot topic of the day. I want you to give me a call tonight because I want to hear from the people tonight about what's going on, how you feel about. Are you totally just disgusted with everything that's going on in D.C.? Our topics for tonight are going to be Eric Massa. We're going to talk in general a lot more about the Washington, D.C. culture of arrogance, how they feel that they know what's best for us, the people, regardless of what we're asking for. And we're going to talk more about the health care bill. And I also want to talk about the kind of candidates that we ought to be looking at in 2010 and beyond, because I think overall we've been looking at the same kind of candidates for years, and that's why we're stuck in the brain drain that we're in now with the folks in D.C. So I want to make sure tonight, I hope you guys call in. The number is 347-996-3175. Again, that number is 347-996-3175. I hope you call in this evening. First thing I want to talk about, I guess, and we'll talk about, it's been talked about a lot, is been Eric Massa. He's been the talk of all the news and everything that's going on right now. He's been accused of some inappropriate behavior, and I'll talk a little bit about that because, I mean, it's pretty defined on what he said he's done, and what he actually was on Larry King earlier this evening and did not answer the way I would consider, if you ask me those same exact questions, how I would answer. So he's basically, right now a lot of people are confused that he's a scapegoat of the Democratic Party. Is he a victim of rough Chicago-style politics where basically he wasn't giving in to what they wanted, and so they went on the offensive and pretty much destroyed him. I got to admit, his story right now just doesn't wash with me. The idea that he resigned from his position just because because of the health care bill, it doesn't sound right to me. His excuses on what he did, flirting with a male staffer, which again to me is like, off the top, just tells you what's going on out here in D.C., the culture. He actually said that he groped someone, but it wasn't sexual. Now, I don't know of any way you could grope someone and it wouldn't be looked at as sexual. If you groped a woman, as a man, if I groped a woman, it would be looked at as sexual. So I guess if you're going to grope a guy, that would be considered sexual too, and I don't see how he could blow that off. Part of the the expression there. The Obama administration has really went at him in a way where he said he was forced to resign based off the fact that he didn't vote for the health care issue, and before that he had voted against cap and trade, and it sounds like that. If you're not voting with Obama, you're becoming a quick enemy of the administration. And there again, it sounds like they're doing intimidation tactics for people. Massa talked about being in a locker room or a stall, in a shower, getting ready to change or getting ready to from working out. And Rahm Emanuel came up to him and confronted him in the shower with no clothes on. And again, this is the kind of stuff that's going on. It was no other intention. He doesn't usually work an administrator, someone that works in the administration, in the Congress gym, I guess. Again, it sounds like typical city politics. Now, that's something that might happen in Chicago or in Detroit. Again, this kind of thing, that wouldn't sound all that different, but this is actually happening in the White House, and I think that's why people have a real reason to be concerned about the way this administration is moving. Massa was dirty. I refuse to believe that he's just an innocent in all this, and obviously he'll say he made his mistakes, but he was dirty in this, and he became an easy target for the administration. If that is the case, the culture in D.C. If you're not going to work with me, you're going to be against me, and obviously that's the way they're even working with Democrats right now. It's got to be a rough climate, and I suspect that's why you're seeing a lot of the Democrats not running again, whether it be for fear of losing or the fact that if they don't agree maybe with this administration, you're becoming an enemy of them, and that's typically not how you would work with your own party. And again, I think it calls to a bigger problem of the lack of experience with this president, and also maybe the team that he's with, because they couldn't get this bill passed with a majority of Democrats in the Senate or the House. And again, it just kind of speaks to where things are right now, and the level of frustration that they're dealing with in trying to get a bad bill passed. And again, it's going to another issue I have right now, and it's kind of the arrogance of Washington, D.C. Now, there have been polls where it's been anywhere from 50 to 68% of the people polled have been against the health care, the bill is in its current state, with no input or no real bipartisanship effort. So when you're telling the president knows, and when his administration knows it, anywhere from 50 to, again, 68 being the highest number that I've seen in polls, reflecting that they're opposing the health care bill, and they continually trying to ram it down the throats of the American people, it shows that they feel that they know best. Regardless of what the people are saying or what they want, they know best, and they're going to make that decision for you. And they actually have told their own leaders to fall on their swords on it. That's how bad they want this passed. They will stop at nothing to get this bill passed, and that's why, as citizens, it's time for us to get off the bench. I think over the last year and a half, there's a lot more people have gotten involved in the grassroots organizations, but we really have to start reaching out to our leaders. Not with letters, with phone calls. Blow up the phones of your local congressmen and senators, and let them know how you feel about this bill, because the pressure they feel from the president is one thing, but the pressure you feel from your constituents and the people that actually put you in office is another kind of pressure. And I think that's why it's been stalled to this point, is because people have gotten involved on a level of, like I said, activism, smart activism, where you're actually contacting your leaders and emailing them, faxing them. I'm telling you, people, this is the only way, in a sensible way, that you're going to make a difference in your communities, wherever you live, is taking action. I'm going to write a blog about that. We have to get off our butts as the American people. For a long time, we've always complained about how we didn't like things, and that's kind of like why I started this radio show, was the idea of rounding up ideas from just the American people. We have to stop being complacent, and also don't waste all your energy on just being mad. Make solutions. Our politicians right now aren't doing that, and it's kind of like I said, that's where when I'm speaking of the arrogance of D.C., they feel they know best. They feel that they can do whatever they want to do, make and expect us to accept it. And it's up to us to vote those people right on out if that's the way they think. Again, they walk around as if they have immunity from the voters. And now President Obama might have another 2 years, 2 to 3 years of that kind of thinking, but a lot of these congressmen and a lot of these senators don't, and we need to hold them accountable for this. And again, the arrogance is by saying that, hey, we know they don't want it, but we're going to make you do it. The arrogance of D.C. is by getting involved in the local elections. You have the Congress position down in the 5th District in Alabama, where you have a race between local people, but you have John Boehner coming down there to fundraise for someone that was actually a Democrat up until December, and voted with Nancy Pelosi 85% of the time. But because they're again, the D.C. arrogance is they're so busy trying to get votes They don't care who the votes come from. They just want the votes. That they're willing to raise money and politic for someone that doesn't even reflect conservative values. As a conservative, it offends me that they believe as Republicans that just because they have the R by their name that they're going to get my vote. And I think both sides of the aisle, we need to reevaluate the kind of people that we're putting into office. We need to stop choosing the lifelong politicians, because these are the guys that have been there for so long that they're not really pushing for change. They're the ones that have the comfy jobs. They're the ones that are getting taken out every day by lobbyists and doing all the things. So they don't have as much motivation for change. We need to stop placing so much value on the experience, because the experience is getting is putting us in a worse and worse position, because these people know how to weasel in and out of deals, navigate, and that's on both sides of the fence. And I think sometimes that's what Glenn Beck is talking about when he's saying both sides are into this. They're both in it for the money, and we need to start putting people in place that are going to be for the people. We need to stop placing so much value. I think it's very interesting that if you look at the history of our presidents, a lot of them, they've gone to Ivy League schools. And perhaps, again, maybe that falls into the arrogance of why they think they're smarter than everybody else. I don't know. I don't take away anybody, the credit for going to a good school or something like that, but sometimes even someone with a lot of book smarts can lack the common sense. And that's where we're missing right now in government, common sense solutions. If you don't have the money, don't spend the money. If it's our money, if I'm operating my budget out of my home, that's how it is. If I want something and I don't have the finances for it right now, you know what? I have to wait. I can't just. I'm not going to just go charge it. That's the culture that we live in now, and again, that's affected the way we look at the way people govern. That's why these politicians will make proposals that run up trillions of dollars in deficits, and really don't expect, up until recently, haven't expected the American people to be concerned, because we're so busy with our own problems at home. Well, that is true in essence. We have our own problems. We are worried about how we're going to pay our own bills, but we can't lose sight of the fact that that this country, we don't want to lose what's so great about our country, and not paying attention to the details, not paying attention to how some of these things are getting paid for. And I think we really do have to pay more close attention to that. We need to, like I said, we need to look at our politicians a lot closer. I value education. I went to school, but I think it's the East Coast bias when it comes to education. We almost, like I said, with the last few presidents, they've all gone to, for the most part, gone to Ivy League schools. And again, it's that, maybe it's that thinking that's, making them believe that, hey, we know what's best for the American people. They might think they know what they want, but we know what's best because we're smarter than them. And that's why they elected us. And it's that kind of thinking that is prevalent in the way these folks in D.C. are running their operations. We vote them in, and then from there they totally forget about the people that put them in the office. And again, that's kind of like where I say we gotta really look at the people we're putting in as opposed to lifelong politicians. We ought to look at people that are reluctant to even get into politics because they're not getting in it to rub elbows and to do business with lobbyists and to get special bills passed for the people, their friends and other rich businessmen. I think we need to really look at people for the people and by the people. I mean, that the way we're looking at things now, again, we've always chose our presidents based off them essentially being perfect. They've gone, ever since they were 14 years old, they knew they wanted to be the president. And that's kind of like the grading scale that we use. These guys are natural-born leaders. You knew they were all going to be special. But it's that kind of ego issue that we have that is preventing the president and even past presidents sometimes from listening to what the people want, and then maybe from some of the people around him. Rahm Emanuel, again, is known as Rambo, as through some parts. He's been very abrasive and rough, and obviously If you don't vote the way they want, he will come after you. I don't have a problem with someone with someone wanting something done, but the way you go about it and a certain amount of respect. Again, I don't really talk bad about Obama on this show, and it's not to say that I might not say some things in the comfort of my own home or joking with people, but it's a certain amount of respect that you need to have for people. And it seems that Rahm Emanuel is doing the dirty work for the president, and no one's holding him accountable. Everyone's talked about the scandal so far with Eric Masson, the things he's been accused of, but the mainstream media is not addressing at all the accusations that he's made against Rahm Emanuel. So I think that, again, that he was dirty and he made himself a target. But the idea that the corruption and the problems in D.C. that he can come into a situation, approach another congressman, another rep, and threaten him essentially to get bills passed, is shameful. It is, and again, it points out to the people, not necessarily the president himself, but the people he surrounds himself with, that are smearing up D.C. even more than they already was. So I'm hoping that moving forward that it'll shine some light on that. I can't see from hearing from the way Rahm Emanuel works that'll calm him down at all. I mean, he's the person he is, but we have to hold the people that we are elected to stand up to these guys and not back down. If it's a bad bill, it's a bad bill. And I don't see why they can't go back to the table and start all over again like the Republicans are asking them to do, as opposed to forcing this down our throats collectively and telling us to take it. So I want to hear from you, America. Give me a call, 347-996-3175. I'm going to go and start the chat board up too. So I want to hear from you tonight. I want to hear how you feel about the health care bill and what do you think we need to do. There's no question that there's some things that need to be done to improve the health care system in America, but we still have the best health care system in the world, and there's no denying that. Again, I would challenge anyone that disagrees with that statement to name your scenario and what country that you think is actually better than America. I challenge someone to do that. Give me a call, 347-996-3175. Give me a call if you live in Canada and you want to talk about your health care system. I've had people calling in before on that, so feel free to give me a call. Let me know how things are working out for you in Canada, how the socialized medicine is working for you and your family. I love to hear these stories. I love to hear whether they're good or bad, because I think, again, it sheds light on whether this is something that we want in America. Now, again, keep in mind the amount of people, 30, 40 million, Canada, 300 million in America. It's a big difference in the amount of people, therefore a big difference in costs. So give me a call. I want to hear from you out there, 347-996-3175. I just started up the chat room. Also want to give you an announcement starting next Monday. I'm going to start doing what we call Fix Michigan Mondays. I will be having different leaders and different people throughout the state of Michigan coming on the show, talking about what we can do to fix Michigan, to get things back on the right track. Next week I'll have the former president of the Michigan GOP, Saul Anuzis, on the show. Looking forward to that interview. Paul Wellday will be on the following week, and the Michigan Republican Senator Mike Bishop will be on the 29th. So we've got a lot of good things coming up this month, and so I look forward to those interviews. We have a lot of work to do in Michigan. I hope that like I said, we'll have different candidates who are running for positions throughout the state, giving their ideas on what you think we could do better. I can tell you one of the things we definitely need to do is probably get rid of the Michigan business tax. We need to kind of get the unions off of the backs of the business owners, because it's a very tough environment to start a nice sized business in Michigan because of all the different things. Thanks, Lexi. I'm glad you're listening in. You hear me so much better. I'm glad. I appreciate you for listening. Give me a call if you want to talk about what's going on here, how you feel about the arrogance of Washington D.C. I know you're frustrated from all the tweets. It's just not the way our country was meant to be. So thanks for listening in. Give me a call if you're listening out there, people. 347-996-3175. I want to hear how you feel about Eric Massa. Do you think he's a victim of the Obama administration, or do you think he's just using this as a reason to skate out before the bigger scandal hits the fan? I want to hear from you. I'm not convinced that we're not going to hear more about Eric Massa because I don't see many politicians dropping out just for being intimidated or just because not ruling on one bill. That typically does not happen. So Larry King asked him this evening, was he gay? He said he wasn't going to answer that. He said you could call and ask the other 10,000 guys he served with or something like that. Me personally, if you ask me something like that, I would just tell you no, quite easily. If that's just simple as that. And obviously this guy has some other issues on that, but again, that's his personal business. But when you become a politician, and again, when you're doing this on the time of the people, you're gonna have issues. So give me a call. I want to hear from you tonight. 347-996-3175. Give me a call. Also want to hear, again, we're talking about does D.C. know best? What do you think, folks? Is it apparent to you that this administration in particular believes that they know what's best for the American people, even if we're clearly making the message known that we don't want socialized health care, we don't want the bill in this current form? Now, again, I will be on the record of saying that something needs to be done. I would be more in favor of opening up the market or letting them all compete, the good old-fashioned way of capitalism here in America, and letting all the healthcare companies compete against each other throughout the country, as opposed to the current system where you have only one or two, maybe three companies in each state. Tort reform needs to be looked at. Again, the Democrats don't really want to challenge that too much because those are their people, the trial attorneys. So I think that there's there's things that can be done, but again, without getting both sides onto the side of the argument, I don't think that the bill in its current status will be acceptable, and I think that a lot of the Democrats realize that. And again, if they really believed in it, it would have got passed a long time ago. But these guys are just like everyone else; they want to keep their jobs. They know that they'll have to go back to their constituents and explain why they are agreeing with something that they don't want. I think Governor Christ in Florida has seen firsthand, working with the administration. He ought to be example number one of someone that if you decide that you're going to get in bed with Obama, you need to be prepared possibly to lose your job because or lose an election. Last year at this time he was a runaway favorite to be the senator of Florida, and now he's getting shellacked by Marco Rubio by at least 30% because he's bought in on all of Obama's big spending programs. And if you're conservative, you cannot understand how you can figure into that if that's what you're calling yourself. I respect liberal Democrats more any day than a conservative that doesn't state the conservative values. Liberals will let you know in a minute what they're for. They don't mind if it doesn't make sense financially. It's just they feel it's the right thing to do. Ill intentions or otherwise, they have convictions on what they believe is right, and I think that I want to continue to see more conservatives do the same. But there's nothing more frustrating than a conservative that does not stick true to the values of the party, and obviously with simple things like smaller government, less spending. It's slightly different as a governor, and also on social issues is going to be a challenge. In whatever state you're in, you're going to have different social issues and different issues based on your region and where you're at. But everyone should be able to agree on less government, less spending, depend in any state, wherever you're at. And the fact that he was a major supporter of the stimulus bill and was proudly accepting the money for his state, he's going to pay with probably in the election cycle. He's gotten to the point now where he's taunting Rubio about haircuts and things of that nature. He's desperate. And I think you're going to see a lot. I mean, he's actually thinking about switching to the Democratic Party at this point, and he might as well. He might as well do that at this point because he's not being loyal to what the party promotes and what is expected out of a conservative. And I think that Marco Rubio is doing a heck of a job in doing that, and his record through Florida and has also shown that that's the way he governs. And I think that is the way, again, that's the way we need to pick our candidates, are by the way they govern, their track record. If they're going to be someone that's not that has not been a politician, that doesn't have that much political experience, you really need to look at what kind of businesses and the background of those businesses and how they run them. It makes no sense to bring in people into positions that they'll say they brought in jobs to an economy, and if they were at a large company, if they were a CEO, they might have shipped out a lot of jobs too. So do your research on all the candidates that you're supporting. Make sure that they're really there for a smaller government, less taxes. Again, it's not that we're saying that things don't need to be improved and things need to be changed, but two wrongs don't make it right, don't make the situation worse, and I think that's what we're seeing right now with the current administration with a lot of different issues. And again, it's a situation where they think they know what's best for the people, and I think we're in a bad situation when you're letting that happen. So again, I'm speaking on situations that I'm seeing happen throughout the country, where again local parties are asking the national parties not to get involved in primary season, and in certain areas they're still getting involved against the wishes of the local branches of the GOP. And I think that you have to really look at what's going on here and the culture of what's going on in D.C. So give me a call. It's been kind of quiet tonight. 347-996-3175. I'm looking, like I said, we're going to be doing Fix Michigan Mondays next week, where again we'll start bringing in more guests again because we seem to get more people calling in. But I want to know what you think, America. I want to know, how do you feel about this healthcare debate? Do we need to start from scratch? Do we need to do nothing? What do you think? I mean, realistically, I'm sure there's some people out there that might think we need to do nothing, but we need to do something because there are a lot of holes in the system. There are a lot of people that can't get coverage, that need coverage, whether it be they can afford it. There are certain people out here, and I can speak from experience on that, being able to afford the insurance, but they don't want to cover you for some condition before that was minor, but because of the way they are able to do things right now, there's really no one else to go to. They're able to deny you insurance, and I think again those are the areas that need to be fixed and things that can be fixed. But we have to commit to doing that as opposed to just trying to totally overhaul our medical system. So I want to hear what you have to say. Call-in numbers 347-996-3175. I want to hear from you tonight. What we got going on? The call-in number, people, is 347-996-3175. Let me go to the chat room, see if we got anybody in there. All right. Next week, we're going to also be going on the air a little bit earlier in the day. I want to start bringing on some guests from some organizations, and I'm hopefully next week we'll have someone from fairtax.org on the show. I want to have them come on the show and explain the fair tax policies and to better shed light on that, because again, it's going to take some people to think outside the box if we really want to make America better. This was not the change that I'm sure that we were hoping for. So we need to get more people out there that are not, who do want to make some changes, but want to make it for a better America and not just to placate to a certain amount of people. So give me a call. I want to hear from you. What do you think about Eric Massa? What do you think about this, the arrogance of D.C.? What do you think about the current health care bill? I want to hear from you. And I'll touch a little bit and see if anybody wants to call in on this. I guess now they've officially passed same-sex marriage in D.C. How do you feel about that? Again, that's something I think that every state is shown that they are not going to vote for that, and yet you still have these radical judges and these liberal judges that have their own agendas, and so they pass these bills without votes or pass these kind of laws without votes. So I want to hear what you have to say about that. I try to stay away from as much as I can on these social issues because that is more dividing, and that's not really, like I said, as a Christian, I just think that's wrong. But again, people are going to have their opinions and how they feel about that. How do you feel about America? Again, from a voting standpoint, America has made it quite clear how we feel about it. But again, you have judges and places that are trying to, again, go around and bypass the American people. What do you think? I want to hear from you. 347-996-3175. If you saw the Eric Massa interview earlier on Larry King, give me a call. Let me know, what did you think? Very interesting interview. All right, it's pretty quiet out there tonight, folks. I guess I got to start keeping the guests on Tuesday nights too, so you guys will call in a little bit more. Um, I like getting feedback from the people that are listening out there. I want to know how you feel. I could go on, obviously, and continue to tell you how I feel, but it's more about also getting more people involved and what are you seeing in your state as far as the leaders and how they voting for it, and what have you done to get involved. You calling in can motivate others that are listening to get more involved, to get more hands-on. So give me a call. Give me experience on how things are going in your neck of the woods. I want to hear from you. 347-996-3175. Some of the people in the coming weeks that I hope to have on the show from different organizations include Americans for Prosperity, again, the fairtax.org. I will be having someone on soon from the NRA to talk about Second Amendment rights in different states. So I'm looking forward to bringing some of these people on. A lot of these people I met at CPAC. It's really just a question now of getting scheduling together. Like I said, I do the show right now once a week, and we're moving to twice a week format next week. But we're gonna, like I said, depending on the guest and the flexibility, we'll start doing more shows. But I definitely want to start doing some things during the day to see if we can get more people calling in or blogging in from during the day if you're sitting at your office or something like that. So give me a call, 347-996-3175. Might even go on Ustream for a minute to see if we can generate a couple more people calling in. Call in number 347-996-3175. It just seems like for so long now that we've talked about this health care bill getting passed. From the inception, the very beginning of this show, that's been pretty much one of the hottest debate topics. And the thing is that bothers me is that nothing's got done. So I don't understand why they can't start from the beginning again and work with Republicans too to make a bipartisan bill. That was one of the many things that made Clinton popular, was the fact that at a certain point he realized that he was going to have to work with both sides. And he had a strong member in Congress, and you had Newt Gingrich there that was working to help make these things possible. So we need the Republican leadership to step up also and make it known that you're actually trying to work with them instead of just strictly doing political maneuvering and roadblocks. It would be good to see some things actually get done in D.C. before the 2010 elections. I'm kind of convinced that though right now the Republicans are willing to do anything they can to slow down the process, which again, if you're doing it to help the American people, fine. If we're just doing things to score political points, again, it's pointing to the bigger problems of D.C. and how we need to get people in there that are problem solvers to get things done and to look at things honestly and fairly. The two-party system is at this point is failing because of the fact that we just can't get things done. Everything's mired in political games. And I think that's got to stop overall. You have people playing with people's lives. Like last week, you had the rep that wouldn't fund unemployment. His principle of what he was talking about was good, but he was at the very least he was he was grandstanding at the expense of people who need that their unemployment. Now, I question how long this is going to go on because there's been people that have been receiving unemployment for a very long time, and it will demotivate certain people not to go out and get jobs if they know this is going to go on for forever. So again, we need people that are about solutions to problems out there, and I think again that's why I support and I always encourage good candidates to come on this show that are working those kind of values, and I'm going to be putting together a questionnaire, almost like a test, that I'll be sending out to different candidates. Hopefully they'll take the test. But if you're conservative, you should be more than willing and more than happy to take this test and answer those questions honestly, because right now there seems to be some very gray areas on what's going on with our leaders and who's conservative, who's not, who's a Democrat. Again, people are switching parties to win elections, and I think if we don't start, as the people aren't paying attention to that, we're doing ourselves a very big disservice. Loyalty to the party is, I have no problem with that. I have no issue with loyalty to the party, but at least pick the right person to represent your party. That's where I would stand on that. I have no problem with loyalty to your party, but it's got to be common sense is the theme of what we need in D.C. And right now we're missing that. We're missing that from both sides of the aisle. And I think that again, our president, what the president is doing is he's strong arming and bribing people to get this bill passed, and it hasn't worked. And because again, at the end of the day, it's every man for himself out there, and those guys don't want to lose their comfy little jobs. They don't want to lose everything that they've got going on for Obama, who again, he's not up for election for another couple of years. And I tend to believe if all the Democrats are voted out in a lot of those positions, all you're going to do is you're going to strike up their base for the election year. So that's not a guarantee that just because the Democrats in certain areas will get voted out, that Obama will also get voted out as well. That's to be presumptuous right now. So you can't take that for granted. And I think that's what we got to pay attention to. So I'm going to take I think we got a call here. I'm going to take this first call. Caller, you're on the air.
Can you hear me, Wayne?
I can hear you.
How you doing, brother? Yeah, I hear you fine.
Great.
I'm glad you're having a good show here. I just started listening. This is John Sims. I follow you on Twitter and also on Facebook, and I just got home tonight. I'm sorry, go ahead.
How you doing this evening?
Oh, I'm doing great. Just got home from a commission meeting and was able to tune in to the last portion of your show. And just picked up on what you'd said. Yeah, I can't believe what a bully this commission or this president is with his health care bill. It's sickening what they're doing there in Washington on this issue, and I've been trying to rally some local support, but it's been tough. And you had mentioned, talking on party politics earlier a few minutes ago. Just wanted to let you know we had our local municipal elections here in Broward County in South Florida.
Okay.
And I was shocked to see that every incumbent won, and by a landslide. We're talking 80 to 20%, 75 to 25%. It was just shocking. I would have thought just the opposite.
Right.
And
you said the incumbents have won at 80%? Wow. Yeah, that's very shocking. That's not the trend everywhere else right now.
Yeah. Well, you got to realize, Mr. Bradley, some, down here in South Florida, it's mostly a liberal atmosphere. It's 2-1 Democrats in Broward. And it's a go along to get along good old boy system, and it's unfortunate that, most of the politicos here in South Florida just don't support their constituents and their shareholders, and it's sad. In fact, we had an issue tonight on Amendment 4, which is hometown democracy, which pretty much gives people the right to vote and to have a say on comprehensive land use changes. And I was the only vote to support that. It was pretty sad to see that happening. But I just wanted to call in, say hi, and appreciate you being on the air, and I appreciate your the fact that you're a God-fearing man and you're getting that truth and message out there. And I've been forwarding your website and your Blog Talk Radio show to all my listeners. And I just wish you the best, pal.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate you for listening in. I appreciate the referrals. Like I said, that's what I try to do. I'm definitely a God-fearing man. I try to present the facts. I don't try to make it an ugly thing. We gotta get the facts out here, and hopefully people will make the right decisions.
Yep, and that's what it's all about. Just state the facts and do the right thing, and I know that's what you've always done and you will continue to do. So I'll let you go, and I just wanted to say thanks again and have a great week.
Thank you. God bless you. Thank you very much. God bless you. You have a good evening. All right. Well, John, I appreciate you for listening in. I appreciate you for calling in. I appreciate you for, like I said, forwarding the message out to others. This is the way that we get heard out here. I don't have sponsors or anything like that. My sponsors are you guys, the people. The only word I have right now is through emails and Twitter and through word of mouth. So that continue to spread the word. Again, this is a show for the people to, again, voice their opinions and to speak on what's going on in their area. Thanks for, I'm thanking Sim City News for thanks for the compliment on a good show. I'll try my best. I'm always trying to provide an outlet for just normal people like myself to voice their opinions and voice, because Fox News and the larger media outlets aren't, they have their own spin on it. This is strictly for the people. It comes down to that. And I like to hear the feedback from the folks out there on how you're feeling in your areas. So in South Florida, again, Democrats are still ruling. That's my point, is that we can't take for granted that people are going to be so frustrated that all these people are going to lose. If you're frustrated in your town, make some noise. Get involved. Don't take it for granted. I think that it would be a mistake for Republicans. Again, that's what I'm saying about them making some rules and actually doing some things on their own. It would be a mistake for them to just sit back and say, we're going to let Obama and the Dems hang themselves on just this kind of legislation, because if it does pass, as much as people are saying they don't want it, I also understand human nature. And you can't say that if certain people who don't have health insurance are able to get it, whether they agree with it or not, they will take that money. Just like if they might have disagreed with the Cash for Clunkers program, I can guarantee there were some people that disagreed with that program wholeheartedly, but went in and got them a new car and used that $4,500 tax credit. So I don't believe that the Republicans should just sit back and believe that they don't have to do anything and that they'll just be granted this election based on default. It's not to that level yet, and I don't think it does. Again, I don't think it does them any good because they're not able to accurately say what they've done as opposed to what the other party didn't do or point out their mistakes. Well, okay, we understand they have created this 2,500-page, $2 trillion proposal. What have you guys proposed, and and exactly, in contrast to what they're doing, what makes your plan that much better? And again, that would be something I'd like to get maybe Eric Cantor on here or John Boehner or somebody to help discuss, or even Mike Pence, someone that can help accurately show what they're prescribing to do as opposed to and what the Democrats are listening to, and if they're giving them anything as far as input on this. So again, I appreciate everybody for listening out there. Give me a call. Only diehard Republicans stay up all night and talk politics. Feel this good. Liberals are going to bed with a clear conscience. All right, I understand that. Again, I'm going to be trying to. I'm always looking for input from people who are listening. If you got some better times, I'm open for that. Again, I'm going to maybe start doing something during the daytime to see if we can get more people calling in or blogging or chatting with us on live chat. So give me a call. I'm going to go to the chat room for a minute and just give a shout out to everybody, hi to everybody in the chat room. To everybody, give me a call. I want to talk to you about everything we talked about this evening as far as Eric Massa. No one's called in to specifically talk about that. I really want to know, do you believe Eric Massa? Do you think it's strictly a situation of him getting bullied, or do you believe that this is a very convenient excuse for him? Give me a call. I want to hear. Somebody on the chat room just said, what's this show about? Politics and culture, my friend. Maverick588, if you're listening. Politics and culture. Right now, our country is in a situation where we need our leaders to step up and not just be, again, only concerned about their job, but do what's right for the people. Do what's right for the people that actually elected you. Ben Nelson took $300 million to make it right for him. Again, that's the kind of frustration I think that we all have with D.C. He wasn't going to vote for that bill. He knew it was a bad bill until you offered him $300 million to be bought off. So I'm tired of the culture in D.C. We need people there that want to make a difference. And again, things are so bad because of the way the media works. The way the game of personal politics and the personal destruction that's involved in it, you scare away a lot of good people that might want to get involved because they just don't want them or their families picked at or torn at because of aggressive political tactics and strategies. So there's a lot of things that pose challenges to even getting involved in politics. Obviously, the amount of money that's involved that you need. And again, that's kind of like where a lot of people feel like disenfranchised with it because you almost feel like it doesn't count unless you have this money, unless you can pay to play. And I think that's where we've gone wrong in our whole system. The only people that are paying in the long run are the American taxpayers. We're the ones that had to bail out the banks after they wined and dined and made all kinds of money selling their bad loans to other people, and when it was time to cash in and actually pay for it, who had to turn around and float the money to them? The American people. And the same American people can't go to these banks right now and get a loan. They don't want to even approve. They're fighting tooth and nail on short sales now. It's because they know they have financial backing from the government, and they'd rather cut their losses, get their money back, and recoup some of it through the government than actually let people either retain their homes or do loan modifications. There are all kind of ways that these banks and could work deals out where people could stay in their homes. And people, just so you're clear here, I am an REO real estate broker by trade. This is what I do for a business. So that would negatively affect me by people doing that. But understand there's ways it can be done where people could keep their homes. I would rather find another source of business than to profit off people just losing their homes. So if you can help people save their homes, I think we should be doing that. And again, everything with good intentions with these bailouts and stuff has not put the banks in a position where they want to do that, or are they motivated to do that. And again, this is that was the bipartisan effort. I'll tell you, that was the last thing that I've seen in D.C. that was bipartisan, was bailouts for banks. And again, I think we as American people have to be smarter than that. We have to see through what's going on here. And again, come election time and before election time, start getting to know the people that we're going to put into office, as opposed to them only putting their message out to us, what they want us to know. Go further. Do your own research. Call people. Do whatever you got to do to get the bottom line on these people, because there's a lot of people that are making promises. And if you probably did your background on them, you would have known that they weren't going to either keep the promises or they had a background of breaking promises before. So the current president promised a lot of things that would be done differently, and they haven't been. Quite frankly, they've been quite the opposite of what he said he was going to do. Starting with the health care bill all the way down. The health care bill was going to be televised on C-SPAN. It never was. It was not going to raise taxes on people who made under $250,000. That was the magic number during the campaign. That defined who was rich and who wasn't. It was almost a thing of, well, if you support Republicans or you support John McCain, I remember people telling me, oh, you must make $250,000 to support them. I said, no, what people don't realize is that that's just the arbitrary number. There is no way that he was going to be able to do a health care bill without raising taxes on everybody. And in certain areas, and in certain communities, that wouldn't matter. So, I mean, it's just keep calling your representatives or health snare. Yes, you should. Thanks, Lexi, for the suggestion. I think everyone, again, take more ownership of the community you live in, and follow up with your leaders. Don't let this go unabated. Don't let it go unabated. Follow up with people. The president, he doesn't have to. He's kind of free from answering to the people on the ground, which is unfortunate. But send them emails, send them phone calls. They need to know where the American people stand on these issues. Your senators, your healthcare people, they will listen to you. So I can't encourage you enough to do that. I got another caller here. Let me take this call. Caller, you're on the air.
Hi, Wayne.
Speaking.
How are you this evening?
All right. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, man. Hey, listen, I've been following you on Twitter, and I saw your conservative is cool, and I love it. As soon as I heard that, the next thing I thought of was, and socialism is for fools.
I can get with that. I like that. I'm glad. Is this the first time you've heard my radio show?
You know, I've listened to it before a couple of times in the past. I just started the whole Twitter thing 3 weeks ago. Oh. And we're following each other. And I tell you, I really love where you're coming from. One thing that I'm very concerned about and am promoting right now is 51% African Americans voting Republican. What do you think about that?
I'd love to see it. I would love to see it happen.
Well, you know, I'm doing my part, and I just tweeted you a YouTube link.
Okay.
When you have a chance, check it out. And if you think it's worthwhile, I'd appreciate you, helping spread the word.
All right. You know what? I think we've talked a few times on Twitter. I think we, 'cause a couple of weeks ago, you asked me about when we talked about that. So yeah, I would. Hey, remember I told you that's ambitious. I remember that now because you might have asked me about that before. So.
Well, you know what? If you don't say it, if you don't visualize it, it's not going to happen.
Amen. Amen to that.
And I'll tell you what, I think the whole, look, we're all proud that we have elected a black president. An African American is president of the United States. That's something to be proud of, and I am. Unfortunately, he's a socialist.
Yes. He might be.
And that's bad.
Yeah, he's gonna make it bad for the rest of any black presidents trying to run in the future with the way he's going. He might be the first and last the way he's going. I hope not. But he's running. Like you said, being a socialist does not help his cause whatsoever.
It doesn't. And you know what? That's why I think this whole Obama craze is the apex of the Democratic Party's headlock on the African American community.
Oh yeah, they
I
followed blindly. They finally cultivated it to this point. You're right.
Well, I'll tell you, I'm amazed at Twitter and the whole social networking thing. I just started a few weeks ago, but there's a lot of people, who do want to see a majority of the African American community voting Republican. And I've networked with a lot of them, and it's given me inspiration. Check the video out, man. I'd really like and respect your opinion, and if you think it's worthwhile.
All right, I will. What's your name again? I want to make sure I got your name down so I can give you a call on this.
Ed.
Ed. All right. Well, Ed,
yep.
listen.
Yep.
I just clicked on my Twitter. I saw the YouTube or the video you sent me. I'll check it out right after the show is over, and I'll let you know what I think. But if there's any way I can help, if you think I can help, I'm on board.
All right, man. Because we're all in this together, and I'm telling you, this could really take off with what you're doing, and a lot of other African American conservatives out there. We can all rally and make this happen.
All right. Well, I hope that I can do that with you, Ed. I look forward to the opportunity. Thanks for calling in and listening to the show.
All right. Thank you, Wayne.
All right. You have a good evening, and I'll definitely be getting in touch with you soon. Okay.
All right. Thanks. Take care.
God bless. All right. Well, I got about 2 minutes left on the show tonight. Thanks for everyone that's been listening in. That is another, again, people always ask me, even my wife asks me sometimes, what are all my goals here? That is one of the goals of my show, is reaching out to the African American community, showing them that you can be young, African American conservative, and it does not change anything else. There's a lot of criticism you usually receive within your community for being a conservative or a Republican or in the African American community. I think it's important. That's kind of like where I've gone with the whole conservative is cool thing, is that you can still be cool, you can still hang out, you can still do all the same things. You don't have to change everything about you to be conservative. It's more about a mind frame, more about a belief system and values. It doesn't mean you can't like certain music or wear certain clothes or hang out in certain places. It more or less means the way you believe the government should play a role in your life, your faith. It's not it's not the box that people try to put you in. So that's one of my goals, and I hope that I'm able to present that. So I appreciate everybody that's listening in. Let me take this. Got 60 seconds left here. I'm gonna take this last call. Looks like it's my mom here, so let me see what's going on. Caller.
Hello.
Hey, Mom. How you doing?
Fine, son. How are you this evening?
All right.
I'll tell you, I enjoyed the show. I didn't really call to discuss any, maybe have any discussions tonight, but it's been more of information for me, informative. But good show.
Well, thank you very much. I'm about to be getting off the air here, so I'll give you a call after the show.
Very good. Very good. You take care.
Thanks for calling in and listening, Mama. Love you.
Love you too, man. Bye-bye.
All right, people. That was my mom calling in. She listens with her. My mom is a liberal, and I love her, but she's always listening, always supporting. Thank you to everyone else that listens and supports the show. Please visit the website, conservativescool.com, for more information. And thank you for listening again. God bless you. Good night.